Hello there, we're back. Welcome back to Breakfast All Day. Christy and Alonso and Matt and Ben and Sabrina at my feet. We're talking about Happy Death Day to You, a sequel which has come out just like a year and a half after the original Happy Death Day.
Well, yeah,
that's how good it was.
It's Blumhouse. They make things happen.
They pump them out. Right? Alonso, please tell us about the sequel.
Sure. So director Christopher Landon is back. This time he's writing. And this time the movie kind of takes a detour from comedy slasher to comedy slasher sci-fi. So it is, we begin on the morning of the following day. And this time instead of following Tree, we're following Ryan, who is Tree's boyfriend's roommate. And Ryan, as it turns out, has been working on an experiment of the Sisyphus device known as Sissy.
Involving quantum mechanics.
And time, blah, 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 science.
Right. Memo to everybody. If you're in a movie and you realize you're in a movie, abandon all of your work in quantum science because it's just going to cause problems.
Exactly. So Ryan finds himself being stalked by a killer in a baby mask, but then before we realize it, Tree understands that he has opened up a time loop, and when they refire the machine, Tree is living the same day over and over again, just like in the first movie. Ooh. But in a parallel dimension where her boyfriend is no longer her boyfriend, but her mom is still alive. Will she stay? Will she go? Can she learn all the algorithms so that she can teach these guys how to fix the time machine when the day keeps repeating over and over again and they don't remember anything? You'll have to watch and find out.
This movie is so much fun, and it is as fun as the original with the added benefit of having some actual emotional heft.
Yes. Yeah. I was shocked.
The debate she has within herself as far as whether to stay and be with her mom, who she loves, who died recently, or be with the guy she thinks is the one. I mean, it's serious. It's like borderline tear jerky. It's and well done to manage that balance in a horror comedy where it already was pulling off a tricky balance.
I was amazed that they made those emotions actually kind of land and mean something.
Yeah, Jessica Rothe is so game for everything. Her timing is amazing. There's a couple sequences where she's like reliving all the same stuff, and she's so angry. She's just going to explode.
So irritated.
And it's hilarious. And like her timing is so great. She does the big stuff well, like the big physical fighting stuff, but also like really tiny like side eye and just reactions to things, and her comic timing is super. So this, I mean, between the first one and this one, like she should be a major star that the world knows about. She's so great.
Yeah, I like this a lot. It starts out doing something that you think is a little different. It's like, oh, okay, maybe we're following someone else. And then it actually tilts into something that I started to get really worried about, because when they start explaining the time loop, I was like, oh, no.
That's kind of a joke, though, don't you think?
Well, yes.
But no, I know what you mean. Excessive exposition. Right. Like, oh, don't tell me.
Right. Like, when you first get the reason, when you realize,
why the first movie happened.
Right. Like, you start to get like, oh, no. Are they going to, like, over-explain all of this? And I was really, really concerned. I was like, because I was like, oh, crap, this is going to go sideways. And then they make it work. And I was really impressed. Now, there's a little bit that, having remembered, when she starts going through the deaths again, I'm like, wasn't there an issue in the first one? But that's okay. I thought this is a lot of fun. You're right. She's super game. And this did have a kind of shocking level of emotion, not just with the mom, but with her roommate. Mm-hmm. Right, like
Ruby Modine,
the roommate,
daughter of Matthew,
right? Which in the first one, right, her roommate in the first one ends up being someone who's the killer, right? Like, and if you're calling spoiler alert on the first one, like
a year and a half ago, come on,
windows closed. But this one, like, oh, she is saying goodbye to that person too. Like, I was really impressed with this. I like this movie a lot, and I think it's worth seeing.
It reminded me periodically of Real Genius, and for me, that is very high praise.
It reminded me so much of Real Genius with, like, all the nerdy friends in the science lab and how they're the real heroes. And, yes, I love Real Genius, too. So I definitely made that connection in my mind as well.
And even the stuff that, like, is so just played for such comedy, like the scene with the sorority president getting the keys.
Rachel Matthews.
Right. Rachel Matthews getting the keys. Like, is so slapsticky and so dopey, and it's almost like it got dropped in from another movie. But you know what? It's fine because it works. It lands. It's funny. And it's like, they go, there's a lot of times that this movie goes right to the edge of like, oh, this is going to be too much and it's going to lose me. And then it just comes right back. And I'm impressed with that.
Right. And the whole sorority president character has been done so many times, and she's always vapid and she's always bitchy. And she is that here too, but there's more going on with her. She gets a chance to play with that character in ways.
Because it's the alternate dimension version.
Right. And it's a good example of how this movie kind of upends your expectations of what this movie ordinarily is like. I also very much like Israel Broussard is the guy who is her boyfriend in one dimension from the first film, but then not. And Phi Vu is Ryan, the main scientist, the roommate who makes all this happen. I like him a lot. He, in other kinds of movies from the 80s, would have been a certain kind of really uncomfortable stereotype and is not. And I appreciate that about that in this film.
Yeah, all the actual scientists are people of color from various parts of the world, and none of them are like sort of the two-dimensional pocket protector type, geek. They're all funny and individual and interesting in their own way.
Yeah, this is very fun, and it moves really, really well, and has full surprises. So yes, go see it. I do though think that you need to have seen Happy Death Day to see this. I mean, like they do explain in the first couple of minutes. Or, when we first see Tree again, she explains what happened in Happy Death Day, but it's so much more fun if you have actually seen Happy Death Day.
There are jokes you'll catch later only if you saw the first movie.
Yes.
So, and you should, because it's a fun movie.
So I think this movie balances horror and comedy, or at least the scariness and comedy, the way we saw in Cabin in the Woods. Mm-hmm. And it's almost in a different vibe, but it's the way some of Sam Raimi's stuff can really balance that. I think that this is awesome.
Bibb said something in his review for TheWrap that I really liked, which is a lot of times with sequels, people have to unlearn the lessons they learned in the first movie to then learn them all over again. Mm-hmm. And Tree actually gets to learn a different lesson in this movie, and it's based on the person that she wound up being after the first movie was over. Mm-hmm. So this is a movie where they don't just retread it. They actually take that character and where we left her as opposed to where we met her, and then goes into a further place with that. And that's a subtle needle to thread that a lot of sequels don't bother to do.
It sounds more like a effective second episode of a good television series.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not exactly scary, I wouldn't say, but it is tense. There are moments of legitimate tension. And part of it is the baby mask is so ridiculous. It's so silly and yet so creepy at the same time. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm getting it an 8.
I said 8.2.
What did I give it? 8.5? 8.5.
Okay. So our number's an 8.2. It is at only 66%.
What? Oh, come on.
That's way too low. It's a lot of fun. So don't listen to all those other people. Listen to us.
Yes, always.
And so go see Happy Death Day to you.
Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Leave us a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts. Subscribe at all the podcatchers. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us positive feedback there. And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.